Greetings drummers, I am back with another practice pad video. I've admittedly not done these in a while because Blue Coat's alumni corps is over, and most amazing night and really the whole experience in 30 years. It was such an amazing experience. And those of you that have come up to me at DCI and other shows and said hi, I always love meeting you all. So if you see me, by all means, come up and say hi to me. Anyway, back to the drum at hand. RCP contacted me and said, hey, we have this new product. Would you like to check it out and do a video on it? And I looked at what it was, and I said, that's something that has clearly been missing from the market for maybe forever. And so I said, absolutely, I would love to do a video on it. Many of you know of my debacle with the Zymox hybrid snare, where I had two of them. They both broke, and the concept of them was amazing. The idea, the concept, but the execution left something to be desired because they both broke, and I very unceremoniously threw it in the trash on video. And no one has really come along to do something to fix the problem that they had. And I thought, why hasn't someone come along to fill this hole in the market that people want? And along comes RCP with a product that addresses some of the main problems that Zymox had with theirs. So this is the RCP hybrid snare practice pad. Now it's not the hybrid snare drum, because this is both a snare drum and it is a practice pad all in one, and it can be one or both, or again, just one. You can make this just a drum or just a practice pad. I'll show you, you can take the pad with you out of the drum. So it's really an interesting concept. The other places that this definitely fixes the Zymox issues is that this is all metal. The Zymox one was made of a composite plastic, and as you saw in my videos, the rims kept cracking. You would try and tension it down with a marching snare head, and when you try and tighten that down, the rims kept cracking. And I thought, well, that clearly is not going to work. So RCP came along, and this is all metal. It's a metal shell, it's a real metal rim, and so you can tighten this down without fear of things cracking. And also another place where I think this solves some of the Zymox issues is that Zymox offered a lot of different custom colors, different rims, and different shell options. RCP has one, black. And so with Zymox, you would order it, you would order your custom thing, and then they would have to make it. Whereas RCP can just have a bunch of these on hand, and when you order it, they can ship it because they don't have to worry about what color did they order, let's make it now. So that lead time is not going to be the issue that it was with Zymox. This retails at $229. It is a 12-inch drum pad. It's a 12-inch head here for comparison. The Zymox was a 13-inch one. It's not light with everything as it is all together. It weighs in at 9 pounds, 12 ounces, but it is fairly compact, and you can take it with you if you want. You can take it to school, you can take it wherever you like. So getting to some of the basics out of the way, we'll take a little closer look at it. We'll take it apart. It has some deadening in it. We'll take a look at the snares, and we'll look at the practice pad, and then we'll play on it. I'll give you some idea of the sound. I'll compare it to a real marching snare, but let's go ahead and take a look at this. On the top here, like I mentioned, is a 12-inch Remo Flams 2 batter head. RCP logo up here. This is a regular Kevlar head, and there's a snare mechanism under there that I will show you in a little bit. The rim here is steel, and there are the notches on both corners, both sides, that you can set your sticks in so they will not roll off. You can see those notches right there. So it's the rim regular lugs that you can use with a regular drum key, of course. The shell, again, is all black. There's a vent hole there. There are no snares mounted on the side here because I'll show you the snares on the inside in a minute. And then on the bottom is a neoprene practice pad. And that's similar to their Flex Series neoprene pad that I previously reviewed. So this pad here is just sitting inside the shell. The lugs here, they simply hold the pad in place. I'll take it off in a minute here and show you. But there's a regular neoprene in the middle here. And then over here is a more laminate type surface, a little more articulate. So let's have a look. Let me undo this and show you what's inside here. All right, so all the bottom rim does, like I said, is just simply holds that pad in place. So the bottom rim comes off. You can see a regular rim there. And inside here is this neoprene practice pad, which is just literally sitting in there. It has a wooden bottom, And on the top there is that neoprene pad like I just showed you. And you can just take this pad and take it with you. So you get a whole separate pad. Compared to the Flex Series pad, it's a little bit larger. You can see there, a little bit larger on the edges, but very similar type idea. Now inside the drum, there is a foam dampener. And then in here is the snare mechanism. It is a metal wire snare. So these give a little different sound than regular gut type marching snare would be. They are pushed up against the bottom of the head, pushed up against there so they will stay in place. They're not really removable. I suppose you could take the drum apart if you were really inclined and take this out and take this off, but that's what's on the inside there. Now you can take this and you could play with it with just like this, and that weighs in at about 4 pounds, 14 ounces. So about half the weight as if you had the rest of it with it. This pad by itself, about 3 pounds, 11 ounces. So again, you get essentially 2 pads for the money here. Now if you wanted, like I said, this is much lighter. You could take this and play on it by itself, or you can take it and you could put just this back together and you could put the rim on it. But one of the things that they've done to try and help deaden the sound a little bit is they put this piece of foam in here. The foam doesn't really push up against the head, so it doesn't really make it feel different. On the Zymox pad, that piece pushes up against the bottom of the head. This is just simply in there to help kind of contain some of the sound. Putting it back together, you simply put the pad back on there, center it to be pretty. And again, all this does is it just holds it on there. You don't need to tighten this down significantly. It's just simply to hold the pad in there in the shell. All right, so there are the inner workings, the construction of this drum. Now let's go play on it. All right, let's talk first. I have the drum here. I have it in full put together mode with the head and the foam insert and the pad on the bottom. I'm gonna play this drum in 4 ways. I'm gonna play it fully together. I'm gonna play it without the foam insert and without the pad and the foam insert, and then we'll listen to just the pad, and then we'll compare it to a regular marching snare. So let's go. No pad, no insert. Pad, no insert. Just the practice pad side. Now on the practice pad side, there is the laminate. Let's just take a listen to that. Now that I got all those different playing methods and you got a good listen to them, let's talk about those a little bit. So first of all, with the deadening in it, I was surprised how significant of a difference that made when I took that out. Those wire snares, when you don't have something to push them up against the head, they tend to rattle a lot more and it's a lot wetter sound. Having that foam in there, again, I was surprised. I just did this first time, honestly. When I took that out, I was surprised how much of a different sound it was. And with everything gone, it was closer to with it altogether, if that makes sense. But I think that pad definitely helps kind of deaden a little bit of that. Now, it's noisy. I would say it's every bit as loud as my marching snare. So if you are playing this inside your house and there's people there or there's neighbors, they may not be happy because this is by no means a quiet drum. And if you're going to be playing it inside on the real head side, you might want to use some hearing protection because it's loud. So there's that. So there it is inside, some thoughts there. Let's go outside. Brief stop in the kitchen here so that we can listen to the pad by itself. Now this does have this wooden bottom on it, so it will slide around a little bit more as compared to their Flex Series pad that has this more spongy bottom on it, and it doesn't tend to slide around. It's not a huge deal, but just something to note. I would say the feel of these two is essentially the same, pretty close. They're both the same neoprene type feel. On the drum, this pad feels less reboundy, I think because of it sitting in the shell and it doesn't have quite as firm of a base to sit on. But on the counter, these feel pretty much the same. They sound a little bit differently. Sound outside, you can hear a little ring from the snares. It's not bad, but it's there. The drum is loud out here. I'm in the middle of a big park and it's loud. If I was going to be playing this long term, I would definitely want hearing protection. All right, let's go back inside and wrap up. Let's wrap up and give some final thoughts on this hybrid snare practice pad from RCP. As I've already mentioned, I think this works well to fill a hole and a niche in the market that has gone unfulfilled maybe forever. Zymox tried, but I think with their quality issues, they've not succeeded in filling that hole. And so RCP came along, and I think they've done a good ways to go into filling that. Now, some pros and cons on this drum. First of all, it's a drum. For those of you that want a real drum but don't want to spend $600 to $1,000 on a real marching snare, you can have this for $229. It's both a drum and a practice pad, and it's got this nice combo deal where you can just have it all in one, or as I've shown, you can take the practice pad off and just take that with you, and you get a free included neoprene practice pad that is much more portable for just a few pounds. Another nice thing on the neoprene side is because it has this laminate here, you can use this to isolate your hands as I was showing downstairs. If you're doing flam taps or flam drags, you want to hear one hand just what it's doing for better sound quality, you can use this to isolate it and have both hands playing at the same time, and it works out well for that. It's compact. It is 12 inches and you can take it with you because it is compact. You can stick it in your bag, although a bit heavy, but it's compact and you can take it with you. It's not the size of a big marching snare. That is not going to be easily portable like that. And perhaps one of the biggest things is you can probably have it. Right now, they are on pre-order only, but once they get these going, it's not like Zymox where they have 1,000 SKUs. These come in pretty much, as I assume it's gonna be, one style, black. And because of that, they can have them in stock in this one model, and when you order it, they can ship it. And so you can actually have it and you don't need to wait for it for potentially years on end. Now, some cons. It's expensive. It's $229. Some people might find $229 a good amount of money, and indeed it is. However, as I mentioned, you do get a lot for that money. You get a drum, and you get a practice pad, and the portability, and everything that goes with that. Next, it is loud. This is a full volume drum. In my basement, outside, in this sound dampened room, it is loud. And if you're going to be playing this for any extended period of time, you're definitely going to want hearing protection. If you're playing it in your house, you are for sure going to annoy the other people in your house because full volume drum. If you're playing on the practice pad side, well, it sounds like a neoprene practice pad and it's going to be fine. It's not loud, it's not going to be annoying, not a big deal. But on the full drum side, it is loud. Zymox, with their practice mode on their hybrid snare, it is much quieter compared to the full volume, so it would be nice if they had a way that they could make this quieter. There is that foam piece inside, and while that attenuates a little bit of the sound, I think that more helps with just some of the ringing from the snares and the metal shell, but does not do as much to quiet it as I would like. And one other thing, because it is a 12-inch drum, you are not going to get the muscle memory of a 14-inch, a real size snare. If you're going out to the edge, you're not going to get that muscle memory because it's only 12 inches. Also, if you're trying to do the Cavalier claw, I can tell you from experience, it's challenging on a 14-inch drum without running into the rim. Small, minor point. But overall, great product from RCP. Like I said, I'm glad that someone has finally come out with this. And I think if you are looking for something like this, a drum, something compact, something you can take with you and put a real head on it and get a practice pad, I think this is a great product and you should absolutely check it out. And if you see me at a show, absolutely come up and say hi, and I hope to see you in some future drumming videos.